Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today I'll give you my top 10 favorite horror movies of 1983. It's a bit of a weird year. There's no Halloween movies, there's no Friday the 13th, and there's no Nightmare on Elm Street yet. Hasn't been created yet, so it's going to be a fun list to put together. So sit back, relax, let the show begin. Number 10 is House of the Long Shadows. It's a fun one. It's got a legendary cast, fantastic atmosphere, and a great isolated location setting. It's about a man that makes a bet with his publisher for $20,000. All he has to do is write a book in 24 hours. The bet is taken immediately. The writer drives to an isolated location with no distractions, so he can write in peace. But people start showing up. We're left wondering what's going on here. It's a fun movie. It's not extremely scary, but if you liked April Fool's Day, you'll like this movie. The full movie's on YouTube. Check it out. Number 9 is Mortuary. This is a decent little horror movie starring a young Bill Paxton. I love the opening scene where two guys break into a warehouse and witness a seance. The two guys get separated. One of them gets murdered, but then the other one thinks he's playing a prank and left him stranded. So he makes his way out alive and looks everywhere for his friend. Just a fun little 80s movie. The only thing that ruined the film for me is even though the killer wears makeup on his face and wears a black cloak, I knew who the killer was from the beginning. But still, if you haven't seen it, it deserves a watch. Number 8 is One Dark Night. Directed by Tom McLaughlin, he also made Jason Lives. One Dark Night is a good low-budget 80s horror film. It's got a decent cast, a terrific mausoleum location, and fantastic atmosphere. It's about a girl played by Meg Tilly who has to spend one night in a mausoleum by herself for her initiation. It's got some genuinely creepy moments and some scary looking corpses near the end of the film. I feel some of the scares could have been executed better, but still a fun movie to revisit from time to time. The full movie is on YouTube. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Number 7 is Sweet 16. Sweet 16 is a fun horror movie. It's a whodunit kind of film. After a 16-year-old girl moves to a small town, people start dying around her. I really enjoy the cast. Dana Kimmel from Friday the 13th Part 3 plays more of a minor role, but she's great in it. It's not a terrifying film, but it's got a great atmosphere and a fun little twist at the end. The full movie is on YouTube. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Number 6 is Cujo. This classic is a different kind of horror. The thought of being stranded in the middle of nowhere with a rabid dog terrorizing you and your son, and there's no way out, nowhere to run. You're baking in the sun with no water. You must do something, but you know the odds are slim. But if you don't take on the beast, your kid is going to die. And that type of adrenaline, motivation, for me, there's no doubt I would get out of the car and take on that beast and tear him apart. And at the end of it all, I probably would be in bad shape. But my son is safe, and that's all that matters in the end. Excellent film that will always remain a classic. Number 5 is Sleepaway Camp. This is perfect 80s horror cheese right here. I've seen this movie so many times. It's one of those bad movies that's just so fun to watch. I love the camp setting, and the overall suspense of not knowing who's doing the killing is just so much fun. And that bizarre but iconic ending is like, what? I don't think any ending in movie history is as shocking as this one. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Number 4 is Nightmares. This is one of my favorite horror anthology films of all time. It has 4 stories. The first story stars Christina Rains from The Sentinel. She plays a woman who needs cigarettes, so she goes out late at night only to encounter a serial killer. The second story stars Emilio Estevez, who's hooked on arcade gaming. The third story stars Lance Henriksen, who's literally being chased by Satan. And the fourth story stars Richard Masur. You may know him from It, the TV movie, John Carpenter's The Thing, plays in many things. It's probably the weakest story of the 4, but I really love the first 3 stories. They're all so much fun. If you haven't seen this one, try to pick it up. Number 3 is Videodrome. Directed by David Cronenberg, I love these types of bizarre fantastical horror films. It stars James Woods, who is looking for a new show for his TV network that's really going to push the boundaries. Comes across one broadcast, Videodrome, that he just can't get enough of. It starts to consume him. It's a great film that can be interpreted many different ways. It's got great practical effects and it's filmed beautifully. It didn't do well at the box office at all, but this is definitely a classic and one of my favorite Cronenberg films of all time. Number 2 is Psycho 2. This is one of my favorite sequels of all time. I even placed it ahead of the original in my Psycho ranking video. It's just so much fun. I still watch it a ton today. I love the look of the film. The atmosphere is excellent. I love the setting. The motel and the house on top of the hill is iconic. Norman Bates is released after 23 years. Is he cured? Well, if he is, some people don't like that he's out and will do anything to see him crack and get put away again for good. It's such a great movie. Now, number 1 is John Carpenter's Christine. I love this movie so much. One of his most underrated films of all time. And after The Thing failed and John Carpenter lost a job on Firestarter, Christine was the only thing offered to him. And did he ever deliver a classic? One of the most beautiful looking movies ever. Perfect atmosphere, another iconic Carpenter score, and I love the cast all around. I always thought Buddy Repperton looked like a Jack John Travolta. And originally Kevin Bacon was cast, but he opted to try for Footloose instead, opening the door for John Stockwell. I even told Carpenter when I met him that the Baconator made a huge mistake. He laughed. The effects are so well done. I love the scene where the car rebuilds itself in front of Arnie. Then they go looking for Moochie. It's so well done. It's an absolute masterpiece. Anyways, so that's the list, guys. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.